Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. So today I wanted to talk about a 12 bar blues progression. What is a 12 bar? How do we get that sound? And I'm going to give you a couple of different chords to mess about with. So this progression is all based around 7th chords and what we call the 1-4-5 blues progression. We'll get to what all that means in a second. So we're using an E7, A7 and B7 chords. And like I said, it's built in a 12 bar progression that we'll get to. I'm going to take you through the chords first, and then I'll take you through the progression. If you know those 3 chords already, or you know 2 of the 3, skip to the relevant chapters on the bar on the bottom and just get what you need. Right, let's get into it. So, first chord that we're going to have a look at is E7. So that looks like a regular E major chord, but we then take the ring finger off, and it gives us this sound. If I just go to my B cam, can you see? E major, take the ring finger off. That's what we get. So 2nd fret of the A string with the 2nd finger, and then 1st fret of the G with the index finger. Take a screenshot if you need to, or pause the video, get that under your fingers. Up next, A7. So again, A7 looks like an A major chord, you know, the 3 stacked on top of each other, but the middle one is removed. So we've got his index finger on the 2nd fret of the D, and then his ring finger on the 2nd fret of the B string. And just as with an A chord, can you see in the diagram, we've got, we're not playing the low E string, we're strumming from the A string downwards. It should sound like this. Again, pause the video if you need to, if you want to do a little bit of muscle memory exercises between E and A, be my guest. Now the 3rd and final chord is B7. Now, this tends to be the stumbling block for a lot of guitar players that go, oh yeah, E7's great, A7's great, and oh no, this one's got 4 fingers, I don't like blues anymore, I'm going to go do something else. Stick with it, it's an A sounding chord, it sounds really good. Now we've heard this before, haven't we? With the, I tell you what, let me go to a bigger version while I'm waffling. So you have a go at. You see how you got. So we've got middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A, index finger on the 1st fret of the D, 2nd fret of the G, 2nd fret of the. Sorry, all my camera angles are backwards and it just takes a bit of getting used to. It's a bit of a squeeze, but I'm sure you've heard this before in the sort of blues with the... It's got this kind of turnaround kind of vibe, and that chord is what sort of makes it sound finished and brings it back round home. So, pause the video if you need to, get that under your fingers. So now we need to mix it all up into a progression. Now, chances are, if you're on the Kirklees Guitar School roster at the minute, you might not know what 7th chords are, or we might not have discussed them yet in your lessons. I'm going to do a separate video, and I'm going to try something different where I sort of write it out on a piece of paper with you all and explain the theory behind it. I just want you to take my word for it at the minute that a 7th chord is a 4-note chord. We add an extra note into the chord to make it sound a little bit spicier. Let's get the playing first, let's get the sound first, and then we'll talk about the theory in a follow-up video to this one, okay? So I'm going to pop this on the screen for you. Now this is the progression that we're going to go off. So you can see we've got 4 bars of E7, 2 bars of A7, 2 bars of E7, B7, A7, E7, B7. Now this is what we call a 12 bar progression. Most things that you can think of that are sort of roots in blues, even almost like rock and roll sometimes, anything from Johnny B. Good to I'm thinking Hound Dog, those rock and roll ones use a 12 bar progression. Blues classics, Crossroads, either Clapton's version or if you're an OG, the Robert Johnson one. Sweet Home Chicago. There's hundreds and hundreds of blues songs that use this progression in various keys. Most of the time guitar led ones tend to be in E because it sounds really good. So what I'm going to do, let me skip this to here. So you've got the progression and you've got the chords above it. So hopefully you've got a nice big screen that you can work from with this, and make sure that you are in full screen mode. Now all we're going to do for this to begin with is we're just going to do 4 downstrokes on each chord. So you're going to do 4 bars of E7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last bar, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go to A7 for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then back to E7. So that's bar 7, 3, 4, bar 8. Okay, now the B7's coming up. B7, A7, E7, and then the turnaround 3, 4. So pause the video if you need to and have a quick go at that. By all means, we're going to try in a second doing it all together. In fact, I'm going to grab a metronome. That's a great idea. We'll grab a metronome and we'll try and do it together. So, it's really important that you're practicing with metronomes at home or playing along to music, because you need something else to bounce off. And I know I go on about it in my one-to-ones all the time. So I'm set the metronome at 60 beats a minute. I'll count us in and I want you to try and do it with me if you can, okay? Right then. Okay. Get your E7 ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar of E7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and A7, and E7, B7 coming up, 2, 3, 4, A7, E7, B7 to finish. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, pause the video if you need to. I think it's also worth mentioning as well, if you would like, if that was a little bit quick for you, I need to try and make this as accessible for everybody as possible. If 60 beats a minute's too quick for you, use the slow down feature down here. Click on the little settings icon and you'll be able to change the speed and find something that works for you. I might sound a bit funny talking you through it in slow motion, but try it. If that was a little bit quick for you, it's more important to me that you do it well at a slower speed than you rush through it and it sounds like a sack of spuds. That B7, if you're struggling with that B7, why don't you try and sort of scale it back to where you're at? Again, I'd rather you do it well and make it fit around you, and then we've got something to build upon, rather than you dragging yourself through it and then you're getting disheartened and then you go on to something else. So if you're struggling to get to that B7 in time, well, why don't you exclusively for the A7 and the B7 chords just do 1 stroke to the bar? So you know, that B7 for that last turnaround at the end, you could go. So I'm looking at bar 9, so bottom left, B7 2 3 4. A7 2 3 4, E7, B7, and then go back to strumming when you start again. It's all about making it as accessible as you. Let me know in the comments how you got on with this. This was a little bit more of a longer lesson, and what are we at? We're at 9 minutes. So I tried to sort of keep, there's a lot of information there, and I tried to sort of compress it as much as we can. Let me know in the comments how you got on with this one. That B7's tricky, but do stick with it. It's really sort of Tarantino sounding. I do like it. It's got that sort of... Sounds really cool. Take it easy, guys. I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot.